Welcome back to A Life Worth Living, a place for real and raw conversations with people from all different walks of life. In a world with social media where people's best lives are on display, we all need refreshing reminders that no one is perfect and you are not alone. This is where you hear the greatest life lessons from the most incredible life stories. A daily reminder of how beautiful this life is and how life is truly worth living. Today, we are talking with Alex Boye. America's Got Talent alumni Alex Boye has gained over 1 billion views on YouTube. Alex received the Erasing the Stigma Award for his work on mental health and suicide prevention. In today's episode, Alex and I jump right into deep conversations about childhood trauma, suicidal thoughts, and how to find true peace and joy. Alex!
Yeah!
I'm so excited that you're here.
Britt Lamour's in the house. Britt! I was going to say that is like the coolest name. I swear. It sounds like, you know, those like old school, like 60s mega Hollywood, like black and white movie girls, you know what I mean? That like, you know what I mean? That were like leading ladies with like not Jim Carrey. What's the other dude? Who's the guy? Frankly, I don't give a darn. What's that guy's name?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Like with the slick hair and the James Dean guys. You're like it's like the leading lady's name of those type of like caliber, you know what I mean? Like Britt Lamour. Perfume.
Oh,
you know what I mean? You got to do perfume, man. That's like the dopest, but don't you think, Nicole, that's the dopest name for perfume? Like Britt Lamour. And you're like walking real slow in Caesar's Palace, like... Yeah, just going back and everything, you know what I mean? Then you got the hubby just kind of walks in his suit and he's just like, yeah, don't touch.
You're giving me ideas. Maybe I
I'm telling you, man.
Online.
I like that. Do it.
Oh my
gosh. Just give me 10%.
Yes. I need to have you. You're probably one of the most creative people I've met. Like,
you're so nice,
like,
man.
Go, nonstop. And you're just like, I have an idea. I'm going to do it. And then you make it happen.
Britt, when you got 8 kids, man, you got to do things. You got to do things.
Like, that's crazy. I feel like so many people that have such big families, that's just so busy. And you know, and it can be like overwhelming. I don't know how you just have like all the energy in the world. So many people need you. You are constantly creating impact, and like you're not only the most talented, but like you are so powerful in like your words, your presence, your energy, and all that you do. Like,
thank you. I'm glad I can't go red. Okay.
God, I can't go. Well, I want to ask, so you do music. You're an incredible artist, incredible like voice, talent. You do so many different things, and I love how you incorporate so many good causes into your music too, and culture and all the great things. Can you tell us a little bit about why you got into music? What made you want to get into music? Yeah,
it was kind of by default. It wasn't something I'd chosen. I really feel like it chose me, and what I mean by that is, okay, we talked a little bit about this. When I was 16, I was homeless, but I never really talked about the reason. I was my mom, when I was 11 years old, she moved to Nigeria. She was just going to be away for 3 weeks, and I didn't see her for 8 years.
Oh my gosh!
And so I kind of bounced around in the foster care system. First of all, I lived with an uncle who was abusive, mentally, emotionally, and sexually.
No.
And the sexual part I've not really talked about. This is just recent that I've started talking about it. And I was a mess. My goal, I wanted to take my life. When I was 16, I loved to dance. So my goal was to go into a nightclub. It's like one of the top nightclubs in London. It's called the Hippodrome. I was going to go in there, get my dance on, and then I was going to take my life. And I remember going into this club, and I'm in the middle of this dance floor, and I'm just like dancing my heart off. I'm bawling my eyes out and everything. And then all of a sudden, like the DJ is like, he goes on, and he taps his mic. He's like, hey, yo, is that Alex Boye in the audience on the dance floor? First, I'm like, what is going on? What?
Yeah.
Wait. And then, you know, this DJ, and he says, yo, man. So apparently he saw me perform at a talent show 2 weeks before, and he was the DJ at this talent show. This little bitty talent show, right?
Wow.
And so he's like, yo, you guys don't know it, but this guy is going to be one of the biggest artists on the planet. He's so talented, blah, blah, blah. Oh, man, Alex, I want to dedicate a song to you right now.
Oh.
So he dedicates a song. I'm standing here like, I can't move. I'm like, then everyone's looking at me. I'm like, oh, what is going on?
Yeah.
And he plays the song. This song, the lyrics to the song just spoke to my soul. It just made me come alive. It was like 10 years worth of therapy in 3 minutes and 58 seconds. I have never experienced anything like that. So I went into this club, Suicidal, and I came out with a mustard seed of hope. And that's all I needed. That's all I needed. And it, excuse me, it changed the whole trajectory of my life.
Wow.
That one song. That was the day I chose to be an entertainer.
Oh my God.
Because I remember thinking to myself, if I could do that to somebody else, I'm freaking dangerous, man. If I could do that, like this guy, whoever wrote it, sang it, they don't know who the heck I am. I didn't know who the heck they were.
Yeah.
But it went into a certain part of my heart that nobody else could get to.
Wow.
And so that was why I decided to go into music.
And you have stuck to that. Like you haven't allowed yourself to get distracted when like a lot of people in the music industry will go in with a purpose and then there's so much noise. And so I'm just so grateful that like you had that impactful experience that saved your life.
Literally.
I'm so grateful that happened because you have stuck to what you came here to do. And you found your reason why you wanted to wake up in the morning, why you wanted to continue going, and why you wanted to do what you were doing, and you haven't deterred from that, and you've done it.
I've had my moments, like, you know, in my 20s and my 30s, where it was just like I want to be the biggest superstar on the planet. Like I want to be the man. I want everyone to know. You know what I mean? And so I had all this, but then it's like, you know, just the sadness, the happiness, the unfulfillment. And so you go, okay, you keep going, then you go this way, and then all of a sudden you realize, man, it's like I gotta stay what I promised myself. I gotta stick to it, because sometimes it's not easy to make those decisions that you wanted to stick by, because like what you said, so many distractions, everybody coming here and there. But I look back now and I'm grateful for them. I'm grateful for those things that, you know, like they say, the road to success, right? I saw this Instagram post, and it's like the road to success. Everyone thinks it's like A and then B, and it's just like,
no,
But it's like, it goes around all over the table, to the side, to the back, to the front, then it goes underneath, it comes back over here, and it's B. You know what I mean? That's me. It was like, so it's like, because sometimes I can sit and take credit. Oh, yeah, so look at me, you know. I'm like, man, you don't know the half, man. You don't know the half, right? That's what we'll take. And a lot of that, we chose it, and some we didn't. Some we didn't. Some things happened to us, and we had to try and figure out our way to maneuver around to get to our own B, you know what I mean?
Well, I think it comes down to like realigning. You know, which is constant, you know, and me and, you know, Bree Ray. So I had her on, love Bree. And we were just talking about, you know, how realigning can be so difficult, because a lot of times, you know, we were talking about confidence, but this goes with everything that we're doing. A lot of times it's the maintenance that's the hardest part. We can have the paradigm shift, we can have, you know, but maintaining it throughout life is so difficult. And so I think that when we find our purpose, I think a lot of people are like, oh, like I just want to know like my purpose. I feel like I have no direction. I feel lost. I feel like I don't know what to do with my life, you know, and it's a big thing that people struggle with, and it, you know, and it creates a lot of mental health, you know, crisis, and it's a part of that journey. But what we have to remember is, like, even when we find our purpose, it can be so hard to maintain that. And I've even experienced that too. I mean, like, I went through the ringer, and I had my own experience with wanting to take my life, planning to do that, and finding my why. And wow, what a life-changing experience to be like, I have something that I am choosing to do, and I am waking up every single day and I am getting out of my bed, or sometimes I'll stay in bed, whatever. But like, you know, I am choosing to do this
therapy,
for this
right?
reason. Yeah. And it creates this foundation that like nothing can shake.
Yeah.
Even though it does feel like it shakes sometimes.
Yeah.
But, you know, I go through different life, and sometimes things are just on this high, you know, which I'm sure in the music industry,
oh my gosh,
you're like, woo, like I'm going to be this and I'm going to do that.
Oh
and
my,
like,
Brett, you can't, like when you stand on stage and there's 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 people, and you get off the stage, I mean, you are on the highest high, you get off the stage, then you got to go home and change diapers. Try that like you've been worshipped, right? Right? You the freaking man, right? Then you get home, and the first thing your wife does is, okay, here's the baby. I'm going. Girls' night out. You scrape the crap off the toilet. It was like, that was one of the hardest things, but now it's turned to the biggest kind of blessing. Yeah. Because it's that thing that grounds you, right? Yeah. And it keeps you, you know what I mean? It keeps you like out of the fantasy world. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I don't believe in being realistic. Like I always hear that word, be realistic. Jesus was never realistic. He never said be realistic to anybody. Yeah. Like sometimes we always say, no, be realistic now. You know what I mean? We don't want you to hurt yourself. You don't want to get put down. You know what I mean? Or break down. Well, that's why we came to the earth. Yeah. To get put down. To go through the crap.
I'm so big on
You know what I mean? Don't tell people to be freaking realistic. Yeah. You know what I mean? Let them dream, man.
You know what? My whole life, like I have been told no. Yeah. And like you can't do that. Yes. It's not like, that's stupid. Yeah. There's too many risks. Like it's not going to be successful. And I am a dreamer. Yes. And I was like born a dreamer. And I know you were too.
Yeah, so people try to stop you. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And I know that like as you push through that and you're like, no, you know, I'm gonna do it. And it might seem impossible.
Don't matter.
I don't know how I'm gonna do it. But I'm gonna do it. You know, and I think that that's a really huge part. And I love that you brought Christ into it because, man, like he performed miracles. Yeah, man. He never was like, hey, be realistic. Yeah. Because what he was doing was not realistic. Yeah. It was very much so. It was remarkable. Mm-hmm. So going from like, okay, having this realistic mind to I want to be remarkable, not just realistic, and it's important to be logical. It's important to have that aspect. My husband is helpful with grounding me.
For me, I just think that my life is so much more exciting when I started just taking the freaking glass ceiling off. Mm-hmm. Like, have you heard that story about you know what I mean, about those, the fleas? You put like a fleas inside like a glass jar. Yes. And fleas, they can jump like 150 times their height, you know what I mean? Uh-huh. But like you put them in the glass jar, and then they start hitting the head. And finally they're like, you know what? This is stupid, man. I'm getting hurt. Uh-huh. So they'll just jump just a little bit before the ceiling. Just a little bit before. Oh. Then you put a whole bunch of other fleas in there, and they're like, boom, 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 and then finally they're trying to say, you're an idiot. Just calm down. You're getting out of here. Okay. And then finally, but and this is scientifically proven, you take the lid off, let's say like after 24 hours, and nobody's jumping out.
Oh my gosh.
Because they think that that's their limitation. That's it. And so I think that a lot of us do that.
Oh, for sure.
People have put the glass lids on us. Mm-hmm. Something that our well-meaning parents said, or our family, or our friends, or our boyfriend, or our ex, or girlfriend, or exes, right? Husband, what, right? And just stuff that is stuck with us, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? When they talk about sticks and stones break my words never hurt me, that's the devil. Words freaking hurt more than sticks and stones. Yeah. What? Yeah. Words can break you. Yeah. Words can start a war between 15 countries. And words can also bring peace to 15 countries. Yeah. So words are so powerful. And I'm reading this book right now. Sorry, I'm going nuts on it right now.
Ooh, what is it?
Right? It's called The Tongue, A Creative Force.
Ooh, okay.
You ever get a chance to read this freaking book, it's ridiculous. And it really pretty much just says that your mouth drives your ship. Our words, man, whatever comes out of our mouth creates things. So that's why it says the tongue is a creative force. Mm-hmm. It creates things. And if we look back at some of the stuff, the things that happen in our lives, it's something that's been created through the things that we've said. And this is weird. It's not that we choose to be divorced, choose to this, but our conversation will attract more of that conversation. Mm-hmm. Like, that's why the people talk about like our tribes and the people we spend time with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Their mouths become our mouths. Their tongues become our tongues.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's something that I've been learning. Let me just share with you something really quick.
Please.
So it talks about how, like, planting seeds, right? Mm-hmm. It says here, planting seeds, many people have desired healing. They want a harvest of healing and a harvest of physical needs met, but they've never planted a seed. The law of Genesis says everything produces after its own kind. So it talks about how, like, you could have a rice farmer. When they plant rice, you're going to get rice that comes out.
Yeah.
But like mentally and physically, when we plant sadness, then sadness comes out. When we plant joy, then joy comes out. But what happens is that we want to plant something and we sit and we just wait. And we're waiting for it. Like, what farmer does this? Puts rice in there and they sit and wait. Like, come on now. Let's go. I've been waiting 24 hours. Let's get this blessing. It doesn't happen. That's not your job.
Yeah.
Your job is to plant it and get the heck out of the way.
Yeah.
God is the only one that can grow this stuff. Mm-hmm. We just have to plant it. But what happens, and especially in my case, I'm just waiting on something and wanting it to happen, and it doesn't happen in the way that I want it to, and the way that I want it to, or that sometimes God lets it happen the way I want it to. I'm like, oh crap, okay, you win. Shoot. Okay, let me step back even further this time.
Yeah.
Because we want to know what's ahead. We always want to know what's ahead. And if we don't, it freaks us out.
Yeah, being in the dark is scary.
Yeah. And so I'm learning to try and toe that line.
Trust.
To try and toe that line of trust. It's like, there's what's that? Raiders of the Lost Ark, man. There was one scene in that, man, with Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
When when it was like he was supposed to take a step. It was like, how can I take a step? And he was on one side, and there was just this like Grand Canyon, like you're gonna die if you go down.
Yeah.
Then there's like on the other side is another ledge. How's he gonna get there?
Yeah.
And this note said, take the first step and the rest will follow. Right? And he's like, wait, no. If I take the first step, it's the last step I'm ever gonna take. Because there's a big dip.
Uh-huh.
But what happened is that all of a sudden he took the first step and it was like a mirage. So the ledge was already there all the time, but from the perspective that he was looking at, it wasn't there. Mm-hmm. So he had to take that first step. And then all of a sudden when he took the first step, his perspective changed and he could see the whole bridge going all the way to the other side of the ledge.
Yeah.
Sometimes we make decisions on our perspectives. Sometimes our perspective is not always right. We make decisions, I'm always going to be a loser.
Yeah.
Since my mom and my dad has always told me I'm not going to be anything. So that's our perspective, but that's not real. That's not a real perspective of who we really are.
It's
we're
limiting
tens.
beliefs.
Yeah, we're tens. We're kings. We're queens.
Yeah.
We're unstoppable. We're amazing.
Yeah.
We're beautiful. We're bright. So when we look at it from that perspective, then we make different decisions.
That glass ceiling disappears.
Yeah. And that's what I'm trying to learn, for myself. I've noticed there's just like, even just a thing from all the trauma that has come up. I always wondered why I didn't want to get into confrontations. I always wondered why. I hated it if someone told me I was wrong. I always wondered why I would get like really nervous if someone thought that I was thinking I was something. Mm-hmm. I'd get really nervous and then I'd try and shrink.
I relate.
So that I could meet their place. I didn't want to stand out. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to act like I was all that.
100% stand out.
Yeah, because things have changed. Now. I didn't want to act like I was not something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And all that started coming from, like, your DNA stores a lot of your memories that your brain makes you forget deliberately because it's protecting you. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it comes out at a certain point, and it happened for me 6 months ago where I went absolutely crazy.
Really?
Everything started coming out. I saw, with the help of a therapist, and I was getting taught that, like, I needed to go back into the parts of my brain and see what was there. Because all these decisions were stopping my success, were stopping not just success like financial or being famous or I'm talking success just like being freaking half happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If that's success these days, you know what I'm saying?
That's 1000%. You know? The fulfillment, the happiness, the joy, the peace.
Yes.
And you can't truly have that if
because you make the right decisions. You make different decisions according to the success and the peace and the joy that you have.
Yeah.
Your decisions are different now.
Your perspective changes.
And so I started, I knew knew, it was just like God was telling me that there's some things I need to know. And when I was sitting with the therapist, and she said, go to your place, you know, but wherever it is your favorite place, take Jesus there with you and sit at his feet and let him tell you what the heck is going on.
Yeah.
And he showed me. He showed me the people that raped me. He showed me my uncle that raped me and passed me around. He showed me my aunt that did the same thing from the age of 5 on and off, and then 6, and then move into another place, and then it happened again, then move into another place. That's what was crazy, was that you think it'd be just a one-off thing. It was almost like my body was attracting that. So the next person I would meet, the next foster parent or whatever, they raped me too. Or the kids that were the older kid. It was like wherever I went, from the age of like 5 all the way up until like 14 years old. And I used to get really frustrated because I'd say, why can't I remember my life from when I was 14 to 0? Why can't I remember all of that? And I used to get so mad. People at school would tell me, teachers would call me dumb because I couldn't, I failed everything. I failed my classes, I failed school. I didn't even graduate at school. I went to one of the most prestigious boarding schools in London, England, and I came out with nothing, didn't graduate on anything. It wasn't until like 3 months ago where God was telling me, my son, you wasn't dumb. I took those memories away so that you could stay alive.
Wow.
And that's what our DNA does. It has all these memories, everything that's happened to us from birth to now.
Yeah.
It's all stored.
Yeah.
And that's why I always, my therapist always said now, is like, if there's something that you just don't feel right about, if there's things you feel like you're hitting that glass ceiling in your relationships and financially or whatever it is, look back because there's some memories there. Go back and find that root. And then whatever age that was, you hug that little kid.
Yep.
And you forgive him and you tell him to forgive you. And then you forgive him for the shame. Because that's why some of us, we carry so much shame and so much guilt.
Yeah.
And it's
for
we're not born to
actions,
yeah.
and also for ourselves. But
we're not born to carry all that. That's Jesus's job.
Yeah.
He said, let me take it. But we don't give it to him. So half the time we don't know what it is.
That's the thing is bringing awareness is so, and the thing is that this has become, I mean, I feel like we've almost talked about this concept in every episode that I've done so far. And I'm like, having this the conversation again with you, and the fact that you are how old, and you are 3 months ago in your life, you are being able to figure this out. And like, I'm just so grateful that like this conversation is happening in more than just my life, because it is something that is so needed, because I have very close family members who were raped, and they're like, they'll tell me, they're like, oh yeah, I'm totally fine. And I'm like, well, did you ever like go and talk to like a professional or a therapist? Did you ever walk through, allowing yourself to remember the details and walk through forgiving yourself and, all these things? They're like, oh no, yeah, I went to therapist. Like I went to the therapist. I talked it out, right? I talked to somebody about it and we're good. And it's just like mind blowing to me, because now that we have the information we have, like you're saying, you see how it's impacting every decision. It's impacting not just your career, but your family, the people you surround yourself with, and it's, I mean, I've had to do that work too. And have you done hypnotherapy?
Yes.
It's very similar to what you were kind of describing. Yeah. And it's basically the type of hypnotherapy I've done is like a guided meditation.
Yeah.
And I also started doing EMDR, and I did that right before my wedding with my now husband.
Oh, awesome.
And some things started to come up. So what I talk about a lot, and I brought up in episodes, and I don't want to be repetitive, but
no, be repetitive. It's so good.
But it's incredible. The brain is so remarkable, because what we are and what we do when we're little is from the womb, even inside the womb, to 7 years old, we're sponges.
Yep.
We literally soak up every tiny little thing. And when you experience something negative, the brain knows, okay, we're not fully developed yet. We're not able to process this appropriately or in the best way possible. So we're going to put this on the shelf. And when our brain is fully developed, then we'll go through and we'll work through this,
Even at the age of 51.
Yeah.
That's how old I am. That's how long. Because I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
You imagine that?
Yeah.
I was still
you also didn't know you could. You didn't know that it was on the shelf.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, I am so glad this conversation's happening more and more around, like, in so many different communities, because we are becoming aware that there is a shelf with things that are core beliefs that are dictating our lives.
Yeah.
And we can have control over that.
Yeah.
When we didn't even know we could.
Yeah.
Right? And like, imagine if you were able to do this at age like 20, age 30. Like, it's something that we're completely capable of. But if we aren't aware, then how are we supposed to do it?
It's all timing. Timing.
Like, how do we do it?
You have no idea. So, I had no idea. I mean, the stuff that I've learned in the last 6 months, I'm like, what? Wow. I'm like, why don't they teach this at school?
Yes. Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like, boy, man, if I would have taken that class, whoo,
well, think about the
imagine how many people I could bless.
Yeah. The people who are struggling today, I mean, if you even take it to the point of like extremes, where there are people who, there's terrorists in this world, there's people, and they're not born this way, right? It develops through core beliefs, it develops through these things that can easily be changed. But these conversations haven't been available. They haven't been, they're not had. And so I'm like, this is like the answer to us really creating change and in the world and in our world, our own worlds. So, man, thank you for sharing that, because I just feel like it's so impactful to hear from, because a lot of times people your age and in that any age after the age of 30, 40, I feel like that you can sometimes get put in a box where you're like, I've already done all the stuff. I already know all the stuff, and I don't need to go back and think about my past. I don't need to, like, and it's just this mentality of staying stagnant. Yeah.
And then there's this let the past be in the past mentality. You can't do it.
Yeah.
If you haven't addressed the past, you can't let it be. Yeah. You cannot. Yeah. And that's the other thing as well. It's like we're at a point. I feel that these days God is using us in ways that He's not used people before, because things are wrapping up. I don't know. All I know is that He needs warriors, and and I keep getting this all the time. It's like, I couldn't use you in that state. So I had to help you go through that hell again. And then once you've met it head on, because you can't go around it. Yeah. That's the thing, us as human beings, we always we get mad and we just think, whenever we go through a trial or a problem, we think there's something wrong with us. Quite the opposite. If we want to get to where Jesus got to, we got to go through what He went through. Yeah. In embryo.
Which is another reason why I want to do this podcast.
This is our Gethsemane.
It's literally, this is the reason why we're here. And that's something that was another reason why I was able to get out of my mindset when I was in such a dark place, is I was like, I had experienced so many trials, and you relate to this, is you're just like, geez, I have been. What is wrong with me? Yeah. And you're like, I've been
trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, I'm on a straight and narrow, shooting faster than an arrow, but yet I go for all this crap. Yeah. What have I done? What do I do? And then that's it. Your self-identity is based on the bad things that you've been through. No! Yeah. You cannot base your identity, because now my goal is I've got to separate it. And that's what I got help doing. Yeah. Separate it. That is not me. I am not what I went through. Yeah, exactly. I am not what I went through.
That was just a part of your journey. Yeah. And it's your choices dictate who you are. Your choices dictate your identity. That's why we're given free agency. Yeah. And that's my takeaway was like, if I'm not experiencing hardships, if I'm not experiencing things that are uncomfortable and pushing me to grow and to learn, why am I here? Yeah. Like, to me, I was like, I felt like I'm going to get to heaven. And the last thing I want to do is see these other people, meet these individuals who had these lives, and they went through uncomfortable things. They experienced trials, and they grew exponentially because they chose to, and they allowed themselves to like go through these trials, and they had these things come up. I want to be able to be so full of knowledge, experience. I want to grow in ways that are so much deeper than we typically will think about in this lifetime. And if I get to heaven and I see that these other people got the opportunity to grow more than me, I would be so pissed.
Yeah.
I would be so mad. I'm like, I want these opportunities. Given, I'm not asking for trials. I'm not like, give me the heart, all the stuff. But if it comes, I'm going to receive it. I'm going to receive it in the way that I can control, and I can control myself. I'm going to let this be an opportunity for growth. And what an incredible blessing. You know, if we allow it to turn it, blessing meaning we turn it into positive.
Yeah. I mean, they talk about how, you know, you always hear that scripture, this too shall pass. I wish I had known that and learned that years ago. Like, if you're feeling like crap, this too shall pass.
Yeah.
If you're feeling suicidal, this too shall pass.
Yeah.
If you feel everything is going great and you got it all together, this too shall pass. If you think that you're the man, this too shall pass. It's all of it. All of it. It's like time is an ally.
Yeah.
We just gotta keep going through it. When we think that we've got it and we got it down, we're like, okay, Jesus, I can take it from here. Let me take the wheel. That's not what the song said. Carry on the word said, let Jesus take the wheel. But we are always taking it. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're sitting in our Teslas right at the front. We pressing ticket. Let's go. Nah, man, get off. Get back in the freaking passenger seat and let Jesus drive. It don't mean that you ain't going to go through this hell. It just means that the only way you can get through the other side is with Jesus. You can't do it without him.
Yeah, I think the trust aspect of that is a huge lesson that we continually learn throughout life. And even if people don't believe in Christ or God and we have our own higher powers, it's still applicable because trusting yourself is so crucial. And I don't know if you've heard the term dropping into your heart of hearts.
No.
There's your brain, your egoic mind, there's your heart, and then there's the heart of hearts. And that's kind of like your soul. And that's where you get your intuition. That's where you get guidance from higher power. Your
conscious and your subconscious. Exactly. That power that you don't realize you have.
Yeah. And so insane. I feel like that is something throughout your entire life. You have to constantly realign. And you're like, okay, I need to drop into my heart of hearts. I need to realign myself and find that trust. Yeah. And if you can't trust your intuition, which after trauma, especially if you get into another situation where you are abused or you experience something similar and you're like, why am I here again? Like, how did I get here? You know, your trust within yourself is damaged. And not being able to trust your intuition is one of the most damaging things that can happen after any type of trauma, after anything. And so rebuilding that and maintaining it is crucial. And just like you're saying, let Jesus take the wheel, trusting also the universe, trusting your higher power, whatever that might be. Yeah,
there is something way bigger than us. And speaking of that, that's why, like, as a musician, you talked about me being a musician. I've always wanted to be a musician, you know, since I was 16 and everything. Yeah. But here's what was going on. I started aspiring to be like an incredible musician, this and that, but I had to find influences. All my influences, all the musicians that I wanted to be like, they've all killed themselves.
Really?
So what am I aspiring to?
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm like, if I could be like them, they got all the hits and everything, and they're just killing it. They got the mansions, the houses, they got the girls, they got the respect, they got the love, the admiration, they got all of it, and they can accomplish anything they want. They rule the world, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but that same person with all those things is not here anymore. So I'm just like, okay, where am I putting my worth? Because if I'm trying to follow that, but I'm going the same direction. So I realized that I have to find something bigger than music.
Bigger than you.
To keep me alive.
Yeah.
And something bigger than me to keep me alive. And, you know, that's where all the stuff with, you know, suicide prevention concerts that I've been doing, I started doing that.
Yeah.
And that really has stemmed from when I was 16, that I'd always wanted to do it, that I wanted to use music as the focal point to help save people's lives. Because most people do it by accident. They don't use music in the way, in a life-saving way, and that it has. For example, sometimes we do it by accident. We're going through a terrible time and everything, you know, just had a big argument with like a family member. We get into a car, turn the radio on, and all of a sudden the lyrics to that on the radio just like, whoa, it's like they were talking to us. Yeah. And you're like, wow, I just feel so much better. That was by accident. Nobody does it deliberately anymore.
Yeah.
And so these concerts, that's what it does. And then I have therapists that I invite, like 200-300 of them in the audience. They can set up booths, and I have my band playing, and then in between I have therapists get up and speak, and they will share messages. They literally minister into the audience in ways that they've never heard before. And it's just the most incredible experience. And for the first time, I feel like I'm doing something that's bigger than me with my music.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
It's just mind blowing. So
I'm so grateful that you're doing that, because it's so needed, and you hear about so many of these so young, these kids that, you know, under the age of 14, under the age of 12, under the age of
12-year-old Drake killed himself.
I know
from
that
bullying.
Story's been going around, and I just have like, it's been so hard for me to even like read and see, because I am just so heartbroken that this is where it's come to, and what you're doing and being very intentional about it. I'm just so grateful. And you've got your event coming up in May.
Yeah, May 7th at the Maverick Center. We plan to fill that place out, 12,000 people.
Yeah.
Come, bring your family, bring your friends.
I can't
everyone.
believe you asked.
And Britt's speaking. She's going to be one of the speakers, because I wanted different people from different areas of life, you know, to talk about, you know, tell their story. And so, you know, she was always, you know, someone in my mind. And, you know, whenever I do the different areas, I'll use the local people. I don't fly people out or whatever, because then once the concert is done, those people are still there. People still connect with them.
Yeah.
And so I knew that when I wanted to do one in Utah, that you was going to be one of the ones that's going to speak. Henry Amar's speaking too.
Love Henry. Yeah. Hey, I was just talking about it with him.
Yeah.
I'm so honored, honestly, because I think
you're ready. You're ready.
I think it's very healing for people to be able to speak about these things. And, you know, talking about my experience with suicide and suicidal ideations is something that I hold very close, and it's very special for me, because it has been, like we've already talked about, so influential and impactful for me in the rest of my life. Yes. You know, you said it impacted your entire trajectory. Oh, and that's where I'm like, I'm a very open person already, but talking about something like that, I am like more than happy to, because I know that there are millions of people who are experiencing something like it or similar. And if it's, like you said, music, like if it's something that they hear in that timing that they need to hear it, it can save their life. Yeah. And so for me, I'm like, I'll be vulnerable all day. Yeah. All day. If I can help one person, I'll be vulnerable all day. Yeah. And a lot of people will want to hide it under the rug. And
we need to make it natural, like passing the butter at the dinner table. There you go. Yeah. We need to talk, it needs to be that natural. Yeah. And that's when we'll start saving. We'll saving more people. Yeah. So at one of the concerts, I did the concert, the same concert. And, you know, it's not like, I make sure I tell people it's not an Alex Boye concert. Yeah, my face is on it. But it's a suicide prevention, mental health awareness concert. And I remember when I get, there's a song that I sing. And it's an original song. It's called Survivor. And my band will start and everything, and start playing the music. And then I'll kind of talk a little bit. And then I invite people from the audience, anyone who has considered taking their life. Wow. I asked him to come up on stage, and I said, look, no pressure. I mean, this is probably triggering as it is, you know what I mean? It was a really strong feeling I had inside that I needed to say that, because I thought that would be really triggering. I shouldn't do that. But there was just a voice that was so powerful. It was like, invite them on stage. And I said, anyone who's attempted their life, any survivors, because the song's called Survivor, any survivors out there, please come up on stage. No pressure. It's no big deal. But if you want to come up on stage and let me love on you. Wow. And so I was probably expecting like maybe like 5-10 people and everything. It was 96. This is in Boise, Idaho.
Oh my gosh.
96 people. This is what my drummer counted. He was like, 1, 2, 3, right? He counted, and I'm like, what? And then what was crazy, this was the most pivotal, incredible moment of this show. Someone will come up and one's 12 years old. He comes up and he stands on stage. Now a 56-year-old stands up on stage, and then another person, then someone the same age, same sex, and then they look at each other and they're like, wait, there's that many? You too? Because they walked on alone, thinking, and through their vulnerability, they're basically saying, I just went through hell by myself.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, another person says, I went through hell by myself. Then you got 96 people, and they're looking at each other, and they're like, there's more of us?
Yeah.
Well, no. That was one of the biggest healing. And also, on top of that, I felt Jesus literally hugging everyone on that stage. It was insane. Wow. And then a week after that, I'm getting people emailing me and saying, I feel so bad. I wanted to get up on stage.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was like, 96 is an insane number.
Yeah.
What's even more crazy is that that's just the people who are willing to go on stage.
That's right. And they said, one of them was like, I really wanted to come on, but I was too embarrassed because my ward was there.
Wow.
There was another one that was up there. It was like, that's the bishop's daughter. There was another one. It was one of the most, I can't even explain it. It was just like euphoric, surreal, where there was just realization that the best, the worst, any of us have gone through this.
Yeah.
There was no reason. There's no levels. There's no, suicide ideation is no respecter of persons. Mental health is no respecter of persons. And these people realized that right there and then. And it was the most powerful part of the concert.
Yeah. I think that's
crazy.
something that I feel like there's just fear and judgment of even going and talking to anyone for help, because that stereotype of like, wow, like that's so stupid. Why would you do that? You know, and there's just this shame and and like you were saying, like people were like, well, there were certain people in the audience, I didn't want them to like judge me, and there's no limits to who this happens to. And I think that's another reason why I'm like, this podcast, I want to be able to bring on really anyone, doesn't matter, but people like you who are so well known in the community and is a leader, right? Where people can be like, oh, he's like, you know, invincible.
I know people was like, oh, he's so happy, he's so this and that. Do you know how hard brother go to work? You know when you see a guy in the gym and like every freaking like cell is ripped. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you look at him, he's like, dude, man, look at you. You know what I mean? It's like, wow. It's like, how you get so ripped? You know what I mean? And like as if it's like, can you tell me how you got so ripped? And they sit there and they explain it to you and you're like, never mind. Because it's too much work. It's way too hard to see that like a championship and he's got the medals and he's been doing it. You know what I mean? It's like, that's hard work.
Yeah.
It's the same thing though with mental health. People are like, well, how come you're so happy? How come you're happy all the time and this and this and that? I said, should I tell you?
Yeah.
Let me give you one thing, all right, that I do. Just one thing. So I bought this clicker, right? And when I'm going through just hell, going through a hard time or just some things just come up again or, you know what I mean, something's triggered or I'm mad or whatever. So I have this thing, it's a clicker, and I click it 1,000 times and I say the same one thing, joy.
Wow, that's cool.
And you say it enough times and it's like euphoria. It washes over you because, as I said in the Bible, as a man thinketh in his heart, meaning in his subconscious soul, so is he. When you change your subconscious, then it changes everything. You can change it on a small level, you know what I mean? But it doesn't last long. You have to change it from the deep part of the core. That's why it says, as a man thinketh in his heart, in his core, so is he. Which become
is uncomfortable.
Yeah, but you have to send messages to it over and over again. Because here's the thing, right? When you walked around saying that you are useless and you are dumb, how long did it take for you to believe that? Because that didn't happen overnight, homeboy.
Yeah.
That was years and years of maybe your mom saying it, your dad, or your friend that you love, or your ex or whatever, saying it over again. Then you eventually believe it. It didn't come overnight. So how are you going to expect to reverse that overnight? So I just have this thing and I'm clicking it 1,000 times. One of the things I'm like, what do I want to be? I have my mantra of what I want to be this year. It's like a not a New Year's resolution. It's a New Year's like mind illusion. What do I want to say? Who am I? Who am I going to be this year?
Yeah.
Right. And I say the most powerful thing. You know what I mean? Last year it had joy and peace like attached to it. And if that's what drives you, do you know how powerful you are? You know the things that you could accomplish when you just have joy and peace? It brings to you the things that people are praying about. It comes so easily. All the things that you want, all your dreams, all your goals comes to you so easily, but you got to work your freaking afro for it just the same way that you have to work your physical bones. You got to work your mental bones like that. Because sometimes we just think, oh, I feel like crap and I suck and this and that, and then there's nothing I can do about it. There is.
Always.
There is.
Always. Yeah.
There always is. My mom always used to say prevention is better than cure. Don't wait to get to something happens, then you need to cure it. Get to the prevention side where you never ever get to that point.
Yes.
And so that's why we got to teach them younger.
Yeah.
We got to teach our kids younger to plug into their minds absolute joy consistently. Now this ain't being cheesy. You can't call it cheesy anymore.
No.
You used to call it cheesy, but people are dying because they're afraid of being cheesy. So I don't care what they put in their minds.
Wow.
I don't care how beautiful they say they are. I don't care if they look in the mirror and say, I am amazing, I am awesome, I'm a princess. I don't care what it takes. As long as they're saying it.
Wow.
You can't, that doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
When people, I'm not going to do this woo-woo repeating stuff over and over again. Really? How many times you walk the street, you see someone in the street, and by the way they walk and the way they carry themselves, they're saying to themselves, I suck, over and over and over and over again. And guess what? It's working.
Wow.
So that's why I have a clicker. And I tell myself the opposite over and over and over again. You could tell me how freaking cheesy it is. I don't care. As long as I stay alive and I'm still around for my 8 kids and my wife.
Yes.
I'll be as cheesy as you need. Call me Kraft Singles. You know what I'm saying? Call that to me. Call me Brie. Call me freaking Stilton cheese. Whatever cheese. I don't care. As long as I'm alive.
Yeah.
Because I'm tired of people on the outside that always say, no, this is not the way and all that, this and that. It's different for everyone.
Yeah.
But stop telling people that don't try that or do that or do that. Oh, yeah, that doesn't work or this and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I know that I have resistance to being cheesy. Like, I think everyone does. And I remember that there was a moment when I was going through everything that I was going through.
Yeah.
And I had this moment where probably one of the most cheesy things, not one of the most, but like you hear like, oh, what would Jesus do?
Yeah,
all the
thank
time.
you.
All the time.
Yes.
And your thing was joy, 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 right?
Yeah.
Peace, joy. And for me, my mantra, it is unconditional love and charity. No matter what anyone does to us, no matter what life does to us, having love for ourselves and for those around us, unconditional, not just love, unconditional love and charity is like what has gotten me through everything. Yeah. And so, every time I have a moment where I'm struggling and every single day, I just thought, love, 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 unconditional love, charity. And it broadened my perspective.
Yeah. It's always perspective. Let me tell you another cheesy thing. If we're going through cheese right now. Let me tell you another cheesy thing. So, and this is just something I read. Like, what do I spend the most time doing? One is walking, right? The other one's in my car, right? So I put like every kind of cheesy quotes and stuff. Like people put it in their houses, in their office, but nobody puts it in their cars. I got it all out. I got it on my windscreen, my windshield. I got it on the gears. I got it on the front. Like, and then at first I used to take it out because I'd get embarrassed because my wife would get in and oh, here we go again, right? But now it's just like, you know what? If I want to stay her husband alive, why heck, I'm going to put that whole thing up there if that's going to help me stay alive.
And not even just that, but like continue doing like being your best version of yourself. It hits you. And
it's all energy.
Yeah.
One word, like this book is it. The tongue's a creative force. One word, one powerful word in front of you can change the energy, your own energy.
Yeah.
And then even walking, I have this thing where I just say thank you. How many times do I walk? Gratitude is the greatest antidote to depression. The greatest. And most people don't know, including me, don't know how to tap into it. We're always ungrateful for stuff, or even just at best, we're just not appreciating what we've got. Yeah. And that's easy. That happens a lot. Happens with me so much. Too. But then when I started doing this simple thing, thank you. Eventually, there's one time when I did it, where I was going, I went from my car. That's right. I was at the airport, right? And I was going to do a gig and I was feeling kind of depressed, man. And I was like, you know, when it comes to like music, when you're going to perform, if you feel a certain way, however you feel, it reflects to the audience. Mm-hmm. So that's when I always feel the devil's trying to get me. It's always before I'm going to do it, I'm about to do a big show.
Makes sense, yeah.
Because you could save a lot of lives if you were in that place of joy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so anyway, from when I was like, got out of the car and parked it at the airport, and then, you know, heading to the platform, because, you know, now it's like 7 minutes, right? Or something like that. Yeah. It's like 150,000 miles to get anywhere in the airport. And I was like, this is actually great. And so from that walk, I just said, thank you for 7 minutes straight. Thank you. By the time, even before I'd got there, I can't even explain it. When I got into the plane and I looked at the hosts, what are the names, the stewardesses? Mm-hmm. I had this biggest freaking howdy doodly smile on my face. And then you know what it did to her? She's like, I love your smile.
Oh, yeah.
And that changed her.
Well, the energy is always
And then she changed everyone in there. And then we had the funnest time on that plane. It was like a party on the plane. It was insane.
I believe it.
And she started it.
Wow.
She got in that microphone and she just said, you know what? Someone just made me smile today. So I wanted, and she started busting jokes and this and that and this. And I realized that not only was it powerful for me, but she affected the whole freaking plane because everyone respected her because she's the stewardess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That reminds me, I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
So what would be like a 1-sentence or a 2-sentence piece of advice that you can give for leadership? You are a massive leader in the community and in so many other ways. What's something that you could give as far as, you know, people who might think that they're not worthy to be a leader or someone for people to follow per se, or someone for people to look up to, or that they might be able to not have an impact? Or what would you say is a good piece of advice to step into the leadership role and the value that we each have?
This is the simplest question to answer.
Ooh, okay.
Show them your scars.
Ooh.
Let me give you an example. When Jesus was resurrected, and the first person he saw was a woman, by the way. There's a reason for that, right? Saw a woman first, and that woman was about to run to him, and what did he say? Touch me not. I've not yet gone unto my Father. But at first she didn't know who it was. In order to show who he was, he showed his scars.
Yeah.
First. This is the most perfect person on the planet. Why would he want to show his scars? So that's why I say from a leadership position, show them your scars. Show them your weakness. See, we as people, we want to show them that we got it together.
Yeah.
And we're the man, and that's what makes us the greatest leader and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's a lie. You will win over more people by showing them their scars than showing them your gifts.
Yep.
When you go read a book, right? Let's say, or think of someone that you totally admire, like famously, and you want to read their autobiography. Here's one thing I've noticed. What do they talk about first?
The hard things. They're the things.
Why?
Because it's what makes them who they are.
See?
Yeah.
And because like the books that I've read where they're just like bragging on themselves and telling them how amazing they are, I'm
Boring.
just like, next book, next. I'll give it back to freaking Barnes and Nobles.
What value does that provide?
Why is it? See, there is something about that. Show your scars. That's why I'd say as a leader, tell them how weak you are. Mm-hmm. It's not your weakness by telling them how weak you are. Mm-hmm. It's actually your strength. And you win over more people that way than you would the opposite way.
It's providing a safe place for them.
There you go.
They need to know that they're not alone, that they can relate to you.
Yes.
And that they're safe to come to you.
Yes.
And that is what makes you a leader, because Christ,
he went through it all.
He went through it all.
He had to.
He can relate to us because he knows we're safe because we know he's experienced what we have, right? Mm-hmm. So when you bring that up, that's what I think about.
Yeah.
And I love that advice for leadership.
Scars, man.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I always love to ask this question. I know that we've talked a lot about this because we've brought up, our whys and all of this, but I want to ask, what to you makes life worth living?
That's a good question. I've never been asked that before. If someone asks me what makes me happy, maybe it might be the same answer. is the fact that I don't know what I don't know. Meaning I'm always learning.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying that. There's so much to learn. Like wherever we think we are, wherever we are right now, and you think you're stuck, there is so many books to read. There is so many people that you're yet to meet. There are so many turns around of knowledge that God has left tracks and left traces that we can eat up and we can grab up. Act like a sponge. When you're a sponge, like a kid, you know what makes a kid happy? It's because they're always learning something. What's next? Oh my gosh, what's this? Look at this piece of cheese. Oh my gosh, what happens if I put my finger in this grater? What happens if I put my finger in this plug? Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. What's like, you imagine that kind of life now? Like imagine you was that like today. You'd be so freaking happy because you're not done. You know you're not done.
Yeah.
You know there's still so much to learn, and it's so exciting. Whenever you keep walking, you keep falling, walking, you're like, oh my gosh, I just bust my head. This is so cool. I can get up and walk again. Oh my gosh, I've got feet. Wow. Oh my gosh, look at those fingers. Like, it's just that wonder. That's why the Lord said we should be childlike, not be children, but childlike. You know what I mean? It's wonder. It's like get up. I get up in the morning so excited about what's going to happen next, and I've not always been that way. And so for me, it's just knowing that I don't know what I don't know, and that the best days are still ahead, and they will always. That's it right there. What was the question? Tell me what question.
What to you makes life worth living?
Knowing that my best days
are
still ahead.
Wow.
Imagine that perception. Now you can be a 60-year-old dude that has this biggest smile and acts like a kid. Now you can be a divorced, like beat up woman or man, and you can still look back and not let that define you, whether you caused it or not. You can look back and not let that define you, knowing that God still has healing for you. Whether you was involved in it or a part of it, doesn't matter. Like, that's exciting to me. There's always a better day ahead, and there always will be. Wait 5 minutes. This too shall pass.
Wow. Alex, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I learned so much today from you, sis. I'm telling you. Let me tell you, I mean, you have gone, like what you are doing right now is... you are living your best life, the life that you didn't think you deserved years ago. You know, and everybody's seeing it. And we're all embracing it, and we're all being changed by it. Because you have more empathy than most people your age. Because of what you've gone through. And so you will attract more people who are going through their hell because you've shown your hell. You know, you couldn't have done it while you were going through it. But you're showing people that, wait a minute. And you know what? You're probably still going through hell now. I am. It's like you can't, you know what I mean? Sometimes we think, oh yeah, you know what I mean? We got it. So, no, yay in so much that there is a no on that one. Still going through crap. But what gets me excited is always knowing that there's a brighter day ahead. Just that perception always shows me the bridge to the other side. Always.
Yeah.
And like, so when I'm going through my worst hell, that's my word. There's always a brighter day ahead. This too shall pass. Stick around for it. Stick around for the ride, baby. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. The journey. It's a journey.
Yeah.
Thank you for being part of my journey.
Thank you for being part of mine.
I love you. I really do. I feel like you're family, and I'm grateful that you were willing to come on and share with us your insights, your experiences. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your very personal things. Like you showed your scars today, and I know that's definitely helping someone right now who's listening to this and watching this. And so thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Appreciate.
How can people find you? I want to make sure that they can be involved with, the events you have coming up, all the different projects you're constantly doing. How can people find you and keep up to date?
Well, the thing I want to share, first of all, is just my website for my foundation. It's called Bend Not Break Foundation.org. Go on there and you'll get to learn everything about me, and you can follow me through there. So bendnotbreakfoundation.org.
Perfect.
Go check it out.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yay. Thank you so much.
You're
Alex.
awesome, bro. L'amour.
Thanks so much for watching or listening. If you liked this episode, subscribe and follow along. If there's someone you feel like would be a good fit for the show, feel free to send me recommendations on Instagram at alifeworthliving.show. I appreciate you guys so much, and I'm grateful to have you here. And until next time, have a great week.